See this thing right here that you people use every single day of your lives?
You talk like as if you're somehow immune from it.
I never said that I was immune.
Down.
That's not the point. Most of I not. I use it for work. But my point is that people literally slave themselves to make this for people, and they complain about this idea that people are entitled to a living wage, or that, oh no, if you demand too much, they're just going to take your job away. They're either going to automate it or they're going to ship it away. And then I'm thinking,
they're doing that anyway.
You're so close to getting it. You're so close to recognizing what the real problem is here. And negotiation for your labor is where it begins.
And can we please say that the fact that it isn't okay to treat workers in other countries like shit, like this is a world global situation that we need worker solidarity. The fact that, I mean, yeah, there's definitely different standards of living based on cost. That's different in different places. So, I mean, someone living in some other country probably doesn't need to necessarily make the same amount of money, but they're same. Shouldn't there just be this universal standard of worker living that we all just globally agree that this is acceptable, and anybody who wants to work within these trades or trade organizations or whatever has to comply?
And I'll leave you guys with this thought. It's like when people complain on both sides of stupidity when it comes to the border crisis. And I say all the time, why do we have a crisis at the border? Because there is a labor uprising in this country, and the people who actually run this country want no part of it. So their attitude is simply this: open up the floodgates and let people in from countries that are desperate to get any job they can, and we'll pay them 10 cents on the dollar, and everyone will get fucked in the process. And that is ostensibly how this works, because labor has been crushed for so long, for so many generations now.
I just think we need to treat everybody the same in the different countries. Like, it's not okay to exploit them either.
No, that's the point.
If you look at like the Mexican, and this is what the big three always say, they want to be competitive, but you gotta pull back the curtain and think about what that means. What they're saying is they want us to compete with Mexican auto workers. Mexican auto workers are exploited more than we are. They're paid $4 an hour. And they're building trucks, right? So this is another argument that comes up. Well, it's just going to get outsourced to Mexico, and there goes your labor costs and all this stuff. Well, they bring these trucks back, these Silverados, and they bring them back, and guess what? They cost the same as one that was assembled in America. So the only thing they want us to compete on is they want us to compete with a worker that they're heavily exploiting in a country with less strict environmental laws, and they want us to compete with that. And it's a race to the bottom if you engage the CEOs with their mentality. So we got to figure out a way to have solidarity across borders, especially in this industry, because you know what, the moment the Mexican auto workers they're kind of having their rebellion moment. Right, they're bucking these company unions, and they're actually getting these independent unions in that will actually fight for them. Well, what happens when they raise their standards? Well, then the big three are just going to say, well, guys, you got to be competitive, because these people over here in Vietnam or Bangladesh or wherever you want to stick the company, they're going to work for less.
Yeah.
And if we keep on engaging in this kind of mentality, it's just a race to the bottom.
Well, and like just to kind of add to that, and then Nick, I don't know if you want to like end with any final notes about what folks can do to support y'all, or what we should be looking ahead to in the next 3 weeks. But just to build on that, a really important point that Nick brought up. It's not just a phrase, right? I mean, international worker solidarity is the path to our salvation. Robust, meaningful worker solidarity. And I will show, then there's an example here that we can actually look to. Nick just gave us one, right? Because remember, as I said, remember the timeline, right? 2017, Trump comes to Lordstown, says, don't sell your homes, we're bringing manufacturing back. The Monday after Thanksgiving in 2018, GM announces that they're going to lay off 14,000 workers and shutter the Lordstown plant, right? And this was like, the same year that they got the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act through, right? In 2019, workers struck at GM about a year later. Right. And this was a massive strike. In that time, when GM was experiencing a strike here in the United States, what they tried to do was offload more production in Mexico and try to get Mexican auto workers to undercut their brothers and sisters on strike here in the United States. And workers like Israel Cervantes at the Silao GM plant refused. They said, we will not be scabs, and undercut our American brothers and sisters. And they were fired for it. And they weren't protected by their company union. Fast forward to last year, Israel and his co-workers at that very plant, they rejected the company union that was not representing them, and they voted in an independent union. And now that movement, as Nick said, is spreading into different parts of Mexico. That is what international worker solidarity looks like. And for the reasons that Nick just laid out, it is what we absolutely need to turn the tide against the bosses, so they don't constantly have the ability to say, well, we're going to go find the cheapest possible labor we can, and then we're going to sell the product back to the same markets at the same price, and we're going to we're going to take all the difference for ourselves. We've got to put an end to that. And in fact, workers can be the driving force for that change. And you saw it there in Mexico, and I think that we can all be a part of it now. And with that, I promise I will shut up. Thank you guys for having me on. Nick, I want you to have the last word.
So what I would say to people is that, this isn't just the auto workers fight. It was never just about UPS and the Teamsters. This is about rebuilding an American dream that we have lost. And if we can't win this in labor, if we can't win things like a shorter work week, if we can't win things like eliminating tiers, if we can't win the basic principle that one job should be enough, 40 hours a week, you should be able to live on that. If we can't win that in labor, what does it spell for the rest of the country who's not protected by a union, who haven't yet come to the crossroads of having to realize they need to collectively organize to sit down and have equal power with the boss? If we can't win it here, if we can't win it now, I don't know when we will. So I would just say to everybody, know that we're not just fighting for auto workers. We're not just fighting for an extra dollar in our pocket. We're fighting for our communities. We're fighting for American manufacturing, for all of the communities in the Rust Belt that have been completely gutted and destroyed by these corporations who see the dollar sign at the end of the ledger, but leave out the human cost. We're fighting for more than just our demands. We're fighting for basic worker respect. So I would just encourage everybody, if you have a big 3 factory near you, come out and walk the picket lines, because there's no doubt in my mind come September 14th, one or all of us are going to be out on strike, and talk to those workers, because you're going to realize in my plant of 2,000, that's 2,000 different stories. That's 2,000 different reasons of why they're walking the picket line. So I'd just encourage everyone to come out, support, and do whatever you can, even if it's just sharing on social media. Public opinion is very important.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.